One question I have is, since I'm very aware of Operation Mockingbird, why did you choose consciously not to include that in the film? Would it have detracted? Would it have added? Would it have added depth? Did you think about that? And anyone else who'd like to?
I don't know what Operation Mockingbird is, so that maybe answers your question.
Okay. Operation Mockingbird was a CIA operation to see that all mainstream media was controlled by the CIA. Happened in the 1950s. And so, I mean, I'm assuming the CIA didn't just, it was investigated in Congress. I mean, soon the CIA didn't decide to reform itself and not do that, so that's why I was asking.
Thank you for asking that question. You are reminding me now about Operation Mockingbird. I have to make decisions. I can't not include everything in the film, but I think if we do speak about Operation Mockingbird and what that is, you get an essence of it in this film, in the sense that we talk a lot about the CIA and how they're involved in government programs and leading government programs and making sure that the mainstream media is on their side. I hope that answers your question. So we try to deal with some things, but we can't deal with everything.
Related to the TWA evidence and the crack cocaine evidence, that was squelched and killed. What will it take for the independent media to cover the evidence of 9/11, which could end the wars, end the corruption, the absconding, of wasting of trillions of dollars? Some of the key people in your film, like Daniel Ellsberg, Sibel Edmonds, FBI, there's CIA Robert Baer, there's thousands more that are speaking out on this evidence. These are credible people. And mainstream media obviously is not touching it, but what will it take for independent media to break that silence?
As for the SEC thing, yeah, the what was then called the pirate radio movement, and then later micro radio and LPFM. I think that's an interesting legal argument to just say you don't cover us. And if that can work, I'm all for it. I think we have to fight on every possible front. I'm not so sure it'll work, but I certainly wouldn't dissuade someone from working at it.
Well, on all these issues, we need to hold ourselves as independent media outlets and journalists to the same standards we demand of the New York Times and every other outlet. And part of it, I think, has to do with historical analysis. I haven't noticed that militarism failed to be a major factor in the United States foreign policy before September 11, 2001. And frankly, I'm always puzzled by this idea that we wouldn't have wars if somehow some different narrative had been provided about what happened on 9/11.
Thank you for such a great film. I'd like to ask, does it really help us to play down the mendacity of the system we're up against? I mean, it seems like to portray the media, as airing into this, or an echo chamber that will echo whatever gets into the box, and it plays down the idea that there's a purpose for how we're being repressed. There's a purpose for how the system is driving the media to do its deeds. And I'm wondering, how does it help us if we don't look at that squarely?
I think we need to look at the details of media dynamics and to look squarely at the way that the economy overall shapes what we get and don't get every day. When we talk about corruption, there's some stuff going on that, if exposed by shoe leather journalism, would result in arrests and perhaps convictions of that sort of corruption. But there's also structural realities that are not illegal. And it's sort of like when we used to hear about impeachable offenses, and is this offense impeachable? We should be just as worried about the unimpeachable offenses that are part of the political culture of our society for decade after decade. And so when we get into structure, then we have to deal with corporate capitalism. These wars aren't happening just because people want to go to work and the heck of it. And obviously that is not an analysis and a critique that's acceptable or embraced by virtually any of the corporate media, which of course includes PBS NPR mainline programs, all the more reason for us to develop our own capacity in terms of movements and media outlets to bring to the fore those very issues that are deep and structural and profound.